This is 90.3 FM, KEXP in Seattle, heard around the world on the web at KEXP.org. Happy to have a guest in the KEXP live studio performance room from Rodrigo Amarante. Thank you so much for coming to KEXP today.
Thank you for having me and us.
You're welcome. Why don't you guys take it away with a couple songs?
All right.
Please.
3, 4. Espaço entre eu e você, no silêncio um grito, sim e não. Eis então que o pedaço de mim que é só teu é intento sem tanto intenção. Quando eu vejo você, me olhando assim, vendo em mim o que eu vejo em ti. Medir o imenso da sede, se cede sem sua sensação, ilusão. É a veste que faz te envolver, que me envolve, verte afeto e afã. Quando eu vejo você, me olhando assim, vendo em mim o que eu vejo em ti. Je suis l'étranger, ça peut se voir. Je ne parle pas tout à fait comme toi. Je viens de la plate-ponde où les aubergines se viola stello, belles sont comme moi. Tout est réifié, nous avons été repiqués sur nos racines de bruit, nos radicaux. son do mundo, tu se foi, toucha le sol.
Live in the KEXP studios, Rodrigo Amarante, sounding awesome today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Why don't you start with a quick introduction? It's not just you. Who do you got playing with you today?
Well, I got on drums, I got Mr. Matt Romano, old friend, beautiful person, great t-shirt. I'm very lucky to have the world-famous Dalhoff brothers, Tori Dalhoff and Todd Dalhoff, also old friends. We've done a lot of traveling with all other bands we've been involved. And that's it. That's us.
Welcome all. Like I said, you sounded great today. And you're playing tracks from the new record, correct? The album is called Cavalo?
Yes.
Which is Portuguese for horse?
For horse, yeah.
And the record is quite a mix. It's in Portuguese, also English and French.
Yeah.
This is your first solo record, correct?
That's right.
Maybe let's go backwards in time a little bit and talk about you. You're from Brazil. You're from Rio.
Yeah.
But you're now living in Los Angeles?
Yeah, somehow I ended up there.
Okay. Let's go back to Brazil. When did you start making music?
Well, I've played instruments since I was a kid. My family, I grew up in a samba school. Not really like a big one, but in a small town in the samba school. So a lot of people in the family, they wrote songs and played, and I had to learn percussion instruments. And so music has been a part of my upbringing. My parents play music and stuff. But I didn't want to be a musician, actually. I wanted to be a filmmaker.
Okay.
Well, but I applied for film school and all that, but I lived too far and had too little money to make it happen, and I ended up in a band. So I might as well try to write songs, and that's how it started when I was 19 or something. Somehow I've been doing that since.
Was this Los Hermanos?
Yeah, the first band was Los Hermanos. Then a couple of years later, I formed another band called the Orquestra Imperial. Mm-hmm. That's a big band in the fashion of the 1940s in Rio. Like what would be a casino band in the 40s. It's 20 people on stage and a huge brass section. Very different from Los Hermanos.
What was Los Hermanos like? That was more like a rock group, or?
It was more like a rock group, but what we did, though, I guess was different at the time, was that we were very inspired by old samba in the way they wrote lyrics and the chord progressions too. So it wasn't quite a rock band. I guess it was. I don't know. It's somewhere in between those two things, if there's something in between those two things. Yeah. And then after that, I started coming. I came to the States first, invited by a guy called Devendra Banhart to record, and we became good friends. Recorded, and I still play and record with him.
Do you do vocals or instrumentation? What do you do with Devendra?
A bit of everything. I've played a bunch of different instruments there and wrote little arrangements. And
how did you come to connect with him? You've done some other collaborations as well.
Yeah, I met him in London when there was a festival there at the Barbican Center celebrating Tropicalia, which is the music from Brazil from the 60s and 70s. And I was invited to come and play with Orquestra Imperial. Actually, we formed a different band between a British band that it was like a string ensemble, because we were performing the record called Tropicalia for the first time with the original arrangements. But anyway, so Devendra was there because Os Mutantes, this really incredible Brazilian band from the time, was playing their comeback show. Was that show, and he was there, and we were staying at the same hotel, dressing room. We ended up meeting and we became friends really fast, and we kept communicating. And then he heard my music. We kept sending new songs to each other, and that's how he ended up inviting me to come. But then around that time, I started writing music with other Americans, or half Americans, and it turned out and then I ended up turning into a band called Little Joy.
Mhm.
And so, which Todd and Matt played too.
Okay.
And so that's how I ended up staying, and I'm here now.
So after coming back to the States to record and stuff, then you just moved? How long have you lived here then?
It was, the first 2 years was coming back and forth, coming to record with the Vendor, then coming to write music with Fab and Binky for Little Joy, then the tour, and then at one point I was like, why should I pay 2 rents,
Gotcha.
Just stay here because it's where it's happening for me. Never really planned, but it's fine. It's great.
That's how life goes sometimes. It just
Yeah.
kind of leads you.
Yeah, I
And
like that.
Yeah, I like that too. And the new record, once again, is called Cavallo. Were you always thinking about songs to put together for a solo record, or was this during the time you were coming back to the States that these songs were coming into your head and you were working on them?
Not really. Well, I never. Of course, if you're in a bunch of different bands, eventually you think like, oh, what if it was just me? I'd do like this or I'd do like that. But it wasn't really something I was pushing for ever. I really enjoy having bands and discussing things. But the time came. We're supposed to do a second Little Joy record. It didn't happen. Fab had to go back to the Strokes, and it just didn't happen. So I thought, well, I'm gonna try to do that now, and write everything, play most everything, and that's how the time. Again, it was kind of. I try not to make long-term plans because I figured they never come true. I just try to keep my licked finger up in the air to see where the wind is blowing, and it turned out to be that. And I took advantage of being in California, feeling kind of isolated with a lot of space and silence, and that felt like a good time to do that. Yeah.
And as you said, you wrote the songs, and you're playing most of the instruments on the record as well?
Yeah, I had Todd come. He played bass. And I had Fab Moretti, the guy who I had the Little Joy with, or have, and played a couple of drums. And I had friends come and sing, like the choirs. There's a bunch of choirs in the record. But everything else was me trying to play everything. It was like, for the first time I had, my little dinky studio with all the instruments. So at first I was overwhelmed and started, writing this super full of instruments, arrangements and things. And I ended up, the first phase was just getting over that phase and throwing everything on the trash. Mm-hmm. And ended up making a record that is very empty. And I feel like that's what I found with it, or what I could give. I don't know, it's, about space, about...
Does it have something to do with Los Angeles as well? For one, Los Angeles is a very spacious place for a city, but also, was it foreign to you? Did that add to...
I guess it does, just in the sense that was the place that inspired me to acknowledge this distance, and because it is a spread out place, and it's a desert, with a couple of palm trees stuck there to make it look like an oasis. Mm-hmm. But I guess in that sense, but it was really more about... since I came out of my environment, my comfort zone, my old career, so to speak, it was an exercise of trying to see how Brazilian I am, or how son of my father I am, or how I am in this new environment. Because it's a very important experience, I feel like, being a foreigner, having to speak the language of the other and have to express yourself in that, and then writing on the other's language, trying to, acknowledging all these things. So it became about that. The record is more about that, about finding the things that I thought I would miss and I didn't, and otherwise, things that I thought I didn't miss and did, and kind of going back, and about memory too, which is like a creative thing, like acknowledging how much of my memory was a creation, invention, mm-hmm. and so that reflects in how we see ourselves, how I, see myself, or I think I am, and all that, it's, I feel like everybody can, one way or another, relate to this thing about being a foreigner, because even if you're not, you can feel foreign in your body or in your work or how people see you, and so, I feel like I thought that could be useful.
It's very true. It is very universal. Once again, we're talking with Rodrigo Amarante and band. It's got a new record out now called Cavallo, and they're on tour in the States. You will have played Barboza by the time I play this on Monday. Is this your first time in Seattle?
No. I've played here with the Little Joy, with the Vendra, with the Doobie Brothers. No, that's just kidding.
Like, wow, okay.
No.
I would believe you.
No, I wish. I've been here before, yeah, quite a few times, and it's very nice. And I'm very happy to be here in this building, in this room.
Cool. Well, welcome back. And you do have some upcoming dates in Minneapolis, Chicago, New York, Philly, and more. I'll post some information on the real-time playlist, so whoever's
Great.
listening in other places in the States can check you out. Would you like to play a few more songs for us?
Yes.
I would love that.
Thank you. All right. Glasses stain, let our ashes be the same. Let a minute pose, the pendulum sway. Stay, let a second beat in vain. Time is never up nor straight. It turns around and bites its tail in the end. Of course you do. What difference does it make? Placebo charms or praise. I know what's on my mind. Where else to draw the line? Only till you're half awake. Keep your head, your mind forsake. Take it in, a voice will lead you the way. And let go of all the words you know. An empty fall, fade them slow. When space unfolds, the void ahead's inside of you. And when I count to three, you're back to where we meet. You be the one you've always claimed to see. And of course you do. What difference does it make? Placebo charms or praise. I know what's on my mind. Where else to draw the line? What difference does it make? A spell, a pill, a praise. You know what's on your mind. Who else will draw the line? Who else will draw the line?
Live music here in the KEXP studios. Rodrigo Amarante.
That's right.
New tracks, tracks from the new record, Cavallo. On tour now in the US of A. And you got one more track for us, I do believe.
Yes. Yeah, this one is called It's me talking and tuning at the same time.
Gorgeous.
It's an art in itself, and have not mastered it. The song is called The Ribbon. and it's in English, American English.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.